Hello, I'm Stacy Swiderski. I am the co-founder of Family Source Consultants. This is Zara, she's the other founder of Family Source Consultants. We've been around for almost 10 years. We are located right here in Chicago. We're in the River North area. I would say probably about, what do you say, Zara? Probably about 60% of our intended parent clients are same sex. And it just seems like it's rapidly growing, so that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. We offer surrogacy, egg donation, so we do both, of course. Egg donation, it's really up to you as far as anonymous, or if you want to know your donor, or even semi-anonymous. So that's always your option, as long as the donor is comfortable with that. And then as far as surrogacy, the way that we match intended parents with their surrogates, it's mutual. So what you're looking for within your surrogate, as long as she's comfortable with that as well. And then, we really pride ourselves on making wonderful matches. We want everybody to have an amazing journey, and it's going to be a stressful journey no matter what. So we want it to be as less stressful as possible. Do you have anything?
So basically, if you decide that this is something that you're interested in, then you would just contact us. We would send you the initial intended parent paperwork. Even though we were meeting you here, it's not, it's not really
Trying
a full.
To cram everything
right?
in 15 minutes, so.
But we are happy to do Skype consultations or telephone consultations to walk you through.
In person.
Right, in person, and because we're here in Chicago, and if any of you do live here, that might be easier for you. But either way is fine with us. And then we will walk you through the entire thing from beginning to end. And if you decide to sign up, then basically at that point you are just waiting to be matched with your surrogate. If you are needing an egg donor through our program, then we have an online database that you can browse. We encourage people that are waiting to take a look at it like maybe once a week or so, because we're always adding new donors. And we feel it's such an important decision. And as Stacy said, we do semi-open, open, or anonymous egg donation, which I think a lot of people wonder, like, well, what is semi-open? And that might be something like, for example, where you might meet your donor via Skype, let's say. And so you get to see her, you get to ask her questions, you get to hear her speak and her mannerisms and get to know.
Or you can even meet in person.
Or you can meet in person, right. And doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be in touch for the rest of your life or become, great friends, but you've at least met each other, so you, can put like a face with the name, and vice versa. We have the online database for donors. Once you sign up and you're waiting for a surrogate, then we will go over with you in fine detail what your criteria is, what is most important to you in your match. For example, some people might want to work with a surrogate who lives close to them, so that you can see the person often and attend doctor appointments and such. Whereas for other people, that's just not that important. They say, hey, it's more about the person. If I do have to travel throughout the pregnancy, that's fine. So, again, for everybody, there's certain things that might be important, whereas to someone else, not so much.
Right. And just a little bit of advice, what a lot of intended parents will do while you're waiting to be matched with a surrogate is, choose your donor and move forward in creating your embryos. So that is most common. So most of our embryo transfers that we see are from frozen cycles. So it just, so the process really is moving pretty quickly, because as you're waiting to be matched, you're also working on creating your embryos. So.
What is the average matching period? Like, how long does it take from the moment somebody applies to find a surrogate match?
On average, we see anywhere between 3 to 6 months. Yeah, it could be a little bit sooner. It shouldn't be any more than 6 months. It's ultimately really going to depend on your criteria, what you're looking for within a surrogate. If, for example, say you're only open to Chicago, for example, it may take a little bit longer, but if you're open to different states, it'll, it just opens up the criteria, and the matching process should be a little bit quicker. Or, for example, if you're transferring 1 embryo, 2 embryos, things like that. Some surrogates prefer to just transfer 1 embryo compared to 2. So all this really comes into play in the matching process. So we'll get all this information from you up front, as we do with the surrogates. So obviously we're only going to share profiles with you of surrogates who meet your criteria.
Right, and other things that are really important in the matching process is making sure that everybody's on the same page as far as contact and communication throughout the process. Some intended parents and surrogates go into it really, hoping to have like a relationship or a friendship, and whereas other times people just are kind of going in more, I don't want to say a business relationship, but don't necessarily need to have that so much. They're okay with just, as long as everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, that's fine. So just making sure that everybody's on the same page as far as the relationship and communication. And then also other issues such as termination. Some surrogates are not willing to terminate a pregnancy under any circumstance. I know we talked a little bit, it was discussed earlier, whereas, as an intended parent, it's just something that you will think about as you're completing the paperwork. Is that, something that you would need as an option for yourself. So just like all of those are issues that we look at and trying to determine who's a good fit.
I know you had a question.
Yeah, I had a couple questions. In regards to like the legal documentation and so forth, does your company handle that too?
We will refer you out to a reproductive attorney who specializes in surrogacy and donation. So we are obviously established with many.
We're based out of Florida too. So,
Oh, perfect, okay, yeah. We have an office in Florida as well, so in the Cape Coral area, so Southwest. So we work with many attorneys in Florida, and it's a wonderful state for surrogacy.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's great,
Okay.
it's great. Yeah, perfect. Does anybody have any other questions?
And doctors, do you refer us?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So just depending, really on if you have a certain location. Are you
Yeah.
from Chicago?
Yes.
So you would probably want to stick around Chicago, so
Yeah.
we have the referral list that we would
Okay.
send to you that with doctors. You really want to work with a doctor who has obviously high success rates, it's a no-brainer, but also who has experience in not only just reproductive, just third-party reproduction is important. You want to have that
Yeah.
level of contact, when you involve a surrogate and an egg donor and, the agency and yourselves, so, yeah. Does anybody have any other questions? And I want to introduce really quick, because I know we don't have a whole lot of time. We have Alberto and Javier. They both actually, it just happened to be they're in Chicago visiting Alberto's surrogate. It's probably almost about 26 weeks. And they're from Spain, actually. So they came here to support us, and we just thought it would be great if you guys have any direct questions. Maybe Javi has 2 girls, him and his partner. They're about, 2 years apart-ish? About 2? Yeah.
2 años de separación.
5 and 2 years.
Okay, yeah. So, they went through, they worked with the same surrogate for a sibling journey, and they transferred 2 embryos, 1 stalk, and then they transferred the other, for a sibling journey. So we worked with them through that, and they actually have a known egg donor, and so does Alberto. So Alberto is pregnant with twins. So if you want to explain, if you guys have any questions, it's great for guys who've been through it, So does anybody have any questions for
I
either
just
or?
recommend that, sorry for my English, it's mostly because in the conference before they were talking about egg donation, about anonymous, non-anonymous.
Yeah, I was
and
surprised about that.
It's something that I think we should think very carefully, but at the same time we have to think about the baby, what the baby would like to have in the future. And I think to have the door open is very important. I have a wonderful donor. I started thinking about an anonymous donation, and then I met her. I saw her profile. I was delighted with her profile, and I decided to do a semi-open donation. I met her through Skype, and the first word we shared was like, I want an open relationship with this girl. And now we share like emails every week. We're friends on Facebook. I know her son and her daughter, and it's like a really good relationship. I consider her like a friend. In the future, I don't know. If she wants, I will tell the babies who is the egg donor, and if they want to meet, it's up to them.
And same with Javi, he's good friends with his egg donor, and they actually did a documentary. You have to check it out sometime if you ever go to our website or their website, where it has the story of the birth of his daughters. It's pretty beautiful, and his egg donor's included in that. So, but yeah, does anybody have any other questions? I feel like you have to cram everything into like such a short amount of time. Financials. Any financial questions? I know those are always very important. Our agency fee, I can go over that quickly.
I just wanted to add real here, I know if you're going online and Google searching, because most people at this point are, at the beginning stages and researching, and it's can be extremely overwhelming what you see out there, and you just don't know what to believe. You'll see a huge range financially, and so, realistically, we can tell you what people have spent with our agency, which is, would you say, average about 80?
I say anywhere between, well, it's gonna depend on the fertility center, that's the biggie, and what IVF package you choose. Most fertility centers are going to have an IVF package. Usually it's 3 choices, a single cycle or an unlimited embryo transfer, or then the most expensive is unlimited egg retrieval plus embryo transfer. So that's where the prices are really going to vary, of course. So I ultimately would say anywhere between 95 to maybe 105 to keep, I don't want to say too low, because then you don't want people saying, hey, you told me it was going to be this.
And that's using a surrogate and an egg donor.
That's both, that's
Right.
everything.
That's everything.
And that's if your insurance doesn't cover any of the IVF, so that's paying out of pocket for the actual IVF, so. And that's another thing, always try to use your insurance. I think a lot of men don't think that their insurance is gonna cover any of the IVF or the medications, and a lot of times it really does. So obviously the egg retrieval is the most expensive portion.
Do you guys do review of policies for the intended parents as well?
For the surrogates we do. For the intended parents, we'll definitely, what you wanna look at is your infertility coverage in your
Right.
policy. So with the surrogates, we look at the maternity coverage.
Right.
But for the intended parents, you wanna look at the infertility coverage. And most importantly, you wanna let the billing department know at the fertility center, and they'll be able to review that and see what's covered and what's not
Right.
covered.
Or you can call your insurance and just tell them that you're planning to do surrogacy, and is there any, do you have any coverage for that?
Yeah.
And all they can say is
You
no.
have nothing to lose, you might as
Yeah.
well try.
Does it matter that one is gay when not at all? So
Well, it depends, some insurances will cover and some won't, so it's just, it's a case by case.
It's really, yeah, even if you're,
Right, even if you're
a
heterosexual,
person,
right.
Yeah, so it really,
But even if you do end up having to pay for everything out of pocket, the range that we shared is realistic for us. We can't speak for other agencies, but that is what we find on average our intended parents.
our agency fee is $16,500, so it's paid into 3 separate payments. It's $4,500 retainer, that's what it costs to sign up with us. Once you're matched with your surrogate, the second portion is due. And that would be the $6,000, and then once your legal is complete between yourself and your surrogate, the direct agreement, that's when the final agency fee would be due. So that's pretty, cut and dry, the $16,500. On the egg donor end, our agency fee is $3,800. It's $500 when you choose a donor, and then $3,300 when the egg donor is medically cleared. So that's the agency fee on the donor end, and that includes whether you want anonymous or semi-open or whatever. So if you want to, like you said, talk to your donor, meet with your donor, that's included in the fee as well. We don't charge additional for that. So, do you guys have any questions? Gotta have questions. We only have like 3 minutes left, so I'm babbling.
So is everybody from Chicago? Is there anybody, well, you're from Florida.
We're in Florida. Is everybody else from the Chicago? Oh, okay.
So I have a question related to that. I mean, when you're talking about these things, the proximity of where the surrogate lives to the intended parents and so forth.
It really doesn't matter, yeah. It's really, what's important to you, but most,
What about proximity to the fertility clinic?
yeah, the surrogate only has to travel twice to your fertility center if she's not local to it. So once for obviously the initial medical screening, and then of course for the embryo transfer. So we'll locate a fertility center near her for any monitoring to be done. So we do that every day, and it works out very well.
Right.
Most importantly is that your surrogate lives in a surrogacy-friendly state. So once the baby's born, there's not going to be any issues with the birth certificate. And we'll obviously only share profiles with you where that'll be fine. Yeah. And then obviously where the egg donor comes from, it doesn't matter at all. Once her eggs are fertilized, at that point, she has some more rights to the embryos.
Right, and the only difference would be, for example, you being in Florida, let's say you did work with a surrogate in a different state, then if you wanted to attend any ultrasound appointments or any doctor appointments throughout the process, then you would just be flying to where she lives and going to the doctor appointment. So,
And once you're matched with a surrogate, you will be working with one of our program coordinators. So she will be facilitating your journey until that point until after the babies are born. So she will be your go-to person